Sha'Carri Richardson didn't just win the 144th Stawell Gift, she pulled off something only two other women in history have ever done, chasing down runners with up to a 9-meter head start and winning from complete scratch. But that's not what terrifies her competitors. It's how she did it. With a photo finish semifinal that almost eliminated her, then a final so dominant that experts are already recalculating what's possible in 2026. Let me break down exactly what Richardson did, why it has experts stunned, and what this means for the upcoming track season. Because once you understand the technical details behind this performance, you'll realize we might be witnessing the beginning of something extraordinary. The Stawell Gift isn't your typical track meet. Picture this scene in Central Park, Stawell, about 200 kilometers northwest of Melbourne. Instead of the pristine synthetic tracks Richardson usually dominates, she's staring down 120 meters of grass. Not just any grass either. This course has an incline running through most of the distance, and on race day, Richardson faced challenging wind conditions that would have made any sprint more difficult. But the real challenge wasn't the conditions, it was the format itself. The Stawell Gift uses a handicap system where slower runners get a head start based on their ability. The faster you are, the further back you start. Richardson, being one of the fastest women alive, started at scratch, 0 meters, no advantage whatsoever. Her closest competitor, 19-year-old Charlotte Nielsen, started with a 9-meter head start. That means by the time the gun fired, Nielsen was already 9 meters down the grass track while Richardson was still at the starting line. For context, 9 meters in elite sprinting is enormous. That's nearly a full second advantage in a race that lasts just over 13 seconds total. The semifinal almost ended Richardson's historic run before it started. Racing through the field in her usual dominant fashion, she made a critical error at the finish line. Instead of driving through to the line, she stood up early, allowing local favorite Hallie Martin to nearly steal the race in a photo finish. Richardson advanced by just 0.07 of a second. That's how close she came to elimination. Standing on that grass in Stawell for the final, Richardson faced 6 women who already had meters of separation before she even moved. Among them was 17-year-old Grace Crow, who had advanced through earlier rounds. The gun fired, and what happened next was pure poetry in motion. Richardson exploded from her blocks with the same devastating acceleration that made her a world champion. At the 90-meter mark, something magical happened. Richardson caught the field. Think about that for a moment. In just 90 meters, she had made up a 9-meter deficit on quality runners while battling wind and running uphill on grass. But she wasn't done. The final 30 meters showcased why Richardson is considered one of the most dangerous finishers in sprint history. While Nielsen tried desperately to hold her lead, Richardson shifted into another gear entirely. She didn't just pass the field, she pulled away from them, crossing the line in 13.15 seconds with what looked like a comfortable margin. Here's where this performance becomes truly frightening for her competition. The technical execution was absolutely flawless. Richardson's acceleration through the middle section of the race was textbook perfect, building speed systematically rather than desperately trying to make up the deficit immediately. Her coach, Dennis Mitchell, had worked with her extensively on race patterns and staying patient through the first 10 meters. In post-race interviews, Richardson explicitly credited his coaching, stating she made sure to be patient that first 10 meters like her coach had instructed. That patience paid dividends as she gradually built speed and began hunting down the field. The execution was so clean that she looked composed throughout the chase, never panicked despite the massive deficit. Her acceleration curve from meters 20 through 60 was methodical and controlled, but the real masterclass came in her final 40 meters. This is traditionally where Richardson has been most dominant throughout her career, and on the grass in Australia, she reminded everyone why. The way she moved through that final section made seasoned sprint commentators struggle for words. What makes this performance particularly ominous for Richardson's rivals is the effortless nature of her execution. After nearly stumbling in the semifinals, she made 0 technical errors in the final. More importantly, she looked like she had another gear in reserve. This wasn't Richardson at maximum effort. This was Richardson in control, operating efficiently while leaving room for more. Nielsen's inability to respond in the closing stages is equally telling. Despite starting with a 9-meter advantage and running a respectable time, she was outmatched down the stretch. Richardson didn't just close the gap, she erased it, and then created her own cushion of separation. For Nielsen and other sprinters watching, the message was crystal clear. When Richardson is running with this level of technical precision and tactical awareness, the outcome is predetermined. It's not a question of if she'll catch you, but when. The $40,000 prize money was nice, but the real value of this performance was the statement it sent. Richardson isn't just ready for the 2026 season. She's operating at a level that suggests she might be peaking at exactly the right time. Compare this to her recent training footage, where Richardson has looked noticeably sharper and more explosive than in previous seasons. Something has clicked in her preparation, whether it's technical adjustments, physical conditioning, or simply finding her optimal rhythm. Whatever changes she's made, they're producing results that have track insiders buzzing about what's possible this year. The historical context makes this even more impressive. Only 2 other women have ever won the Stawell Gift from scratch: Melissa Breen in 2012 and Brie Rizzo in 2025. Richardson didn't just join this exclusive club. She did it with a performance that looked almost easy, which is terrifying for anyone hoping to challenge her in 2026. Her partner Christian Coleman, despite his own incredible credentials, couldn't overcome the scratch handicap in the men's race. He finished in his semifinal with a time of 12.48 seconds, failing to advance to the final. This highlights just how remarkable Richardson's achievement really was. The technical breakdown reveals Richardson's complete mastery of race execution. Her block clearance was explosive, her acceleration was perfectly timed, and her top-end speed was devastating. But most importantly, her race intelligence was flawless. She knew exactly when to make her move, and she executed it with surgical precision. What makes this victory particularly significant is what it signals about the competitive landscape ahead. Richardson's main rivals, Julien Alfred, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, and the emerging East African sprinters, are watching carefully. They saw a sprinter who didn't just win in difficult conditions, but who made winning look inevitable. She controlled the race from the moment she made her move, leaving no doubt about the outcome. That psychological impact cannot be overstated. The margin of victory in the final is instructive as well. Richardson didn't just edge out Nielsen. She put meaningful distance between herself and the field, which speaks to her closing speed and her ability to shift gears when it matters. This isn't a sprinter who won barely. This is a sprinter who dominated completely. Looking ahead to the 2026 outdoor season, this performance suggests Richardson is poised for something special. If she can produce this kind of dominant performance in difficult conditions during a season opener on an unconventional surface, what might she achieve under optimal conditions when it matters most? The Stawell Gift was supposed to be a fun diversion, a chance for elite athletes to experience something different before the serious competition began. Instead, Richardson turned it into a masterclass that left experts scrambling to adjust their season predictions. Based on what we witnessed in that small Australian town, the rest of the sprint world should be very, very worried about what's coming next. If you want to see more analysis of the performances that are reshaping track and field, hit subscribe. The 2026 season is just getting started, and if this opener is any indication, we're in for something extraordinary.